Hi everybody. It has been a long time since we've done an episode of Unwrapped. Unfortunately, I don't have the studio that I thought I was going to have set up, but we're still working on that, and we'll try not to have too much dead space in between episodes. So one of the inspirations behind doing this episode is it's local software, local to where I am within a couple hours. I am 60 miles south of Montreal. That's the closest major metropolitan area. I'm 300 miles north of New York City, and that's why I say Montreal, even though it's not even in my country. But about an hour and a half south of here, there was a software developer, initially called the Software Group, that changed its name to Enable Software Incorporated, that had this very impressive software productivity package at the time. They had two versions. One was called Enable, or Enable/OA, which stood for Office Automation. And then they also had this package called Enable Works Plus. And it looks very similar to Enable OA. This is version 1.1. And I'm developing a database program for another hobby of mine, which is the RCA Select Division video disc. And if you're not familiar with that technology, check out www.cedmagic.com, Techmoan on YouTube, and Technology Connections has also done some great work on the RCA Select Division video disc format. So I haven't been breaking into this because I wanted to do the Unwrapped video on it, and it's been kind of holding up some of the work that I want to do on this video disc thing that I'm doing. So I said, you know what, let's do the Unwrapped video and get it out of the way. So when I bought this, it was actually a couple of years ago off of eBay, and you do find new old stock sealed packages of this product once in a great while. And I will talk a little bit about the history as we're going through it. There was some water damage on the cover sleeve of the case, which has a lot of resemblance to the IBM binder sleeves and binders. I'll grab one and show you in a little bit. So let's take the sleeve off of this thing. And that's what it looks like. Just a 3-ring. We'll get a better view of it. Oops. Get you off of the stand. That's the front. The left side. The interesting thing about the system requirements is my first exposure to this software, I was about 9 or 10 years old in the era of the 8086, and the fact that, it did need a hard drive, but it would fit 10 megs, you only need 640K RAM, 8086, if you did want network capability, because this product could even run on Unix, or the Enable OA flavor could work on Unix, and it could be multi-user. You could have hundreds, if not thousands, of people using this product. Here's the back. And here's the right-hand side. And yes, that's where they are. That's where they were. Enable Software Incorporated, 313 Ushers Road, Northway, 10 Executive Park, Ballston Lake, New York, 12019. Go ahead and try the number. It's disconnected. The one thing, because of this copyright notice and trademarks, is I have never been able to find this Higgins that they're talking about. And apparently that was their email system that Enable OA would integrate with, so that you could email and send files to people through the Higgins system. If anybody out there has a copy of that, please get in touch with me. Okay. let's see what's in here. So we're going to take that out, and it's just got Enable on both sides. On the bottom, there's a label that has the serial number. Try to focus better. There we go. And you need that to install the software. Although somebody on Vetusware actually debugged the software and found that there was a test key that was actually included in the code that you could use to test the installation. So let's see, what do we have? We have the low density 360K floppy disks still in the shrink wrap. I'm going to leave those in the shrink wrap. I don't need it to install right now because I was able to find a copy online that was the 3.5-inch high density format. We have the installation book, a test drive, which I have gone through in previous versions. That's kind of like a tutorial where you can go through and test all the modules. What does it come with? What else does it come with? Users and benefits booklet to talk about what your benefits are if you register. I guess that was why software products were very expensive back in the day. I mean, this was a $600 product for that highly qualified US-based tech support, unlimited mail and fax support, unlimited electronic support via the Enable BBS. Fire up your modems, people. So we've got the product registration book. We have the function key. Whoops. I'll have to cut that out of there. We've got the function key cutouts. The network key number. Yeah, what the heck. Go ahead, I'll show you that. You would need this, and you'd have to edit a special file in the Enable installation, put this key code in there, and what it would do is when you would run the software, it would check at the total number of available LAN key codes that were available and pull one. Like, oh, is this LAN key in use? Grab the next one. There is no next one? Well, sorry, somebody's running Enable right now. You're going to have to wait until they're done. The business reply mail envelope. The Enable, the complete reference, covers versions 4 and 4.5. And that's it for the test drive book. And then it looks like here we have the documentation still in the shrink wrap. We'll open that up in a moment. And then we have, it looks like, 2 versions, or not 2 versions, but 2 shrink wrap packages of the dividers to put the printed material in. So why don't we set that? Why don't we set that up? I'm going to stop the video right here, and we'll start it back in a minute when I can correct the brightness. And we're back with corrected brightness. Yeah, still got the new software smell after 30 years. Now this package is very similar to Lotus Symphony, Microsoft Works, Apple Works for you Apple II, Mac, early Mac people, except for one difference. I'm just going to show you the user reference here. see if we can. The database is full-blown SQL, search query language, and I have never used anything very high-end, but I have heard and seen other people in major businesses, even up until 5 or 6 years ago, have businesses that still have their back ends of their e-commerce systems running on Enable because it was so rock solid. Although occasionally the database would have to be re-indexed and they would automate that in batch files. So like at 12 o'clock every night, it would take 5-10 minutes and re-index hundreds of thousands of records, if not millions of records. So try opening this up without ruining any or damaging any of the pages. Of course, this is always the challenge, isn't it? When they just give you a giant pack of paper going through it all. Okay, so we have introduction. Word processing. Communications. Well, let's go back for a minute. In the user's reference, they call it basics, but the divider calls it introduction. Okay. Well, I'm just going to go through the other sections here really quick. All right, all of that must be. We'll go through the rest of it in a minute. But anyway, the way that it's done is it starts off with a table of contents, and then it gets into like right there it says BA1, so that's basic, and it stops at BA18. But we'll put all of that under the introduction section of the binder. Flip over and do word processing now. I do like the fact that a lot of everything is online today. You can just Bing search or Google search it and have it come up, and I can't find the word right now, but the fact that the internet is so pervasive, it's so inexpensive to go in and edit and update the documentation, that makes everything great. But I miss having a hard copy of the manual that I can sit down and flip through and annotate. And the next section is communications. Flip that over. Printing and graphics was a big deal for Enable as well, not just the database. I mean, it had hundreds of print drivers, lots of graphics options, but boy, Enable was not a WYSIWYG type program. I mean, it did have a graphics mode, and another video will cover actually installing Enable, doing the registration, installing all the options, and then going through each of the modules. We'll do the 5 1/4, or sorry, the 3 1/2 inch. Okay, spreadsheet. When I have an opportunity to scan the documentation into the archive, I most certainly will do that. Okay. Next, database. And I think that's going to be a big one. No? Well, it still seems to be the biggest section of documentation so far at 100 pages. There is also a lot of online help, I'm surprised, for, I mean, this version of Enable came out in 1992. There was never a Windows version, although rumor is the first, there was a beta version available for Windows, but it was done in German localization. And I'd love to see that if anybody happens to have that out there too. Okay, the next section is graphics. Now, it's been long gone, but that version of Enable that I saw from years ago makes this documentation look like a preview. Came in a very large box, giant volumes for each module, high density 5 1/4 inch discs came with that one, but just the power behind this thing. Okay, graphics is actually very small. The documentation only 38 pages. And next is printing. Very small section there, only 20 pages. And then the integration piece. We have an integration that seems to be also very big, bigger than even the database piece, 120 pages. But there were, there were options, like you had accessories, calendar, card file, calendar, and a clock, almost like mini windows. And now for the appendixes. And I'm trying to say, what's this? Applications? Application. No, accessories. Okay. Oh, all right. My bad. These must be the tabs for the index, and what I needed is the appendix. That I don't know where all these go in, but we'll figure it out later. I'm not going to waste any more of your time watching me put documentation in Explainer. But this is Enable Works 1.1. We'll do another video very soon that does the installation of Enable and show you the modules. Thanks for watching. We'll have some links in the show notes. Hopefully we'll get a Patreon going soon.